Did CJ Stroud solidify himself as the number one overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft after his phenomenal performance during Ohio State's Pro Day? I'll tell you today on Locked On Buckeyes.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Thursday, March 23rd in the year 2023, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of every single day. During this episode, we'll go over why I think Njigba continues to make himself money during these pre-draft events and some things that surprised me and also shocked me that went down at Ohio State's Pro Day just a day ago. But before we get to any of that, the talk of the town continues to be Ohio State's former QB1, CJ Stroud. There were numerous NFL people, representatives from numerous NFL teams inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Yes, they were there for players like Paris Johnson Jr. and DeJuan Jones and Tanner McAllister and Zach Harrison. But the biggest fish in the pond, the biggest player of them all in the Woody was not Zach Harrison, CJ Stroud. And when that man was out there slinging the rock around, throwing the ball for 20-plus minutes, people were oohing and eyeing and wowing and being wowed by what CJ Stroud does to the football every time he's at these events. Stroud is a player that is in the conversation of being the number one overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft. And I normally don't think what I'm going to say happens in an NFL draft, but what I'm going to say could easily be reality because of how good Stroud is, and also because the team with the number one overall pick brought 14 team representatives to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center in Columbus, Ohio. Yes, the Carolina Panthers brought 14 people representing them to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. To me right now, I think it's a two-horse race to be the number one overall pick, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. And the deeper we get into this thing, the more I think about it, the more I think about what kind of quarterback Frank Reich wants, wherever he's coaching the football, I think Stroud is getting closer to being the number one overall pick. I don't think it's solidified just yet. However, if you go out there and look at some of the betting lines and who has the best odds to be the number one overall pick is CJ Stroud. And I do believe it's because of events like this. I've seen him play football a couple of years, starting a quarterback at Ohio State. I've seen him make amazing throws consistently, sometimes in practice, but most of the time it's in games. I have seen him all the time drop balls into the bucket right there, just with the flick of the wrist. I have seen him consistently do things that wow me the first time, wow me the second time, wow me the 12th time, because he does them over and over and over. And I have seen CJ Stroud in the combine, at the pro day. I have seen this young man come out there and do what he does best. Throw the ball around on the football field, put it where it needs to be a ball placement specialist, be as accurate as any quarterback is going to be accurate in this upcoming draft. He does it at an elite level, and these are the events that Stroud knows he needs to flourish in to get the money, to get the bag. And yes, the number one overall pick definitely gets the bag. I am not comfortable saying just yet that Stroud's going to be number one overall. But I am comfortable saying this. I have a bigger belief that Stroud will be number one overall in the upcoming draft than I have it throughout this entire process. Now, we're going to get my guy Ryan Roberts from Rise and Draft Scouting to come back on to discuss more nitty-gritty details about the scouting report and what kind of prospect Stroud is. Why is Stroud QB1 or is he QB2? And among him and Bryce Young, I don't think he's 3, 4, or 5 with Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, or maybe even Hendon Hooker being in that conversation. I think it's 1 or 2 for Stroud. I firmly believe that. But also, what fits what the Panthers want best? That is a question everyone has to answer. And also, here's a little nugget. Normally, the number 1 prospect overall is the guy that's going to be going number 1 overall. Many may say Jalen Carter is a better prospect than Stroud. Some may say Will Anderson Jr. is a better prospect than Stroud. I believe the Carolina Panthers move up to the number 1 overall pick with the thought in mind, with the sole purpose being a team who drafts a quarterback and drafts a quarterback of the future. Number 1 overall, you think he's a can't-miss kind of guy. You think he's a guy that you're going to bring in day one and think of a plan or formulate a plan to allow him to be the starter at some point. You think he's going to be there 8, 10, 12, 15 years. Now, granted, he may end up via free agency, go somewhere else. Those things happen. We may want to force a trade. Those things happen as well. But you think you bring him in, he is the guy of the future. I think wherever Stroud goes, he's going to believe, and the team initially is going to believe that Stroud is the quarterback of the future. But I just can't say number 1 overall right now. That does not mean whoever drafts him in the top 7 of this NFL draft that they are not going to be getting a guy who is going to be a starter in the NFL and a quarterback of the future. It's going to happen. I think it's not solidified just yet. But Stroud in these events ooze and ahs and wows us in a way that makes us stop and think, is he the guy that the Panthers want? I think he is one of the guys. I think there are 2 guys they really, really want. If Bryce Young bombs his pro day, which has not happened just yet, it could be Stroud, man. Go to Carolina, get the money, have a good time, have fun. And it's going to be mainly because of events like this. 14 people from the Panthers came to watch him throw footballs during his pro day. That's huge, man. That is huge. Do I think he solidified it as the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming draft? No. But I think he's closer to being drafted number 1 overall than he has during this entire pre-draft process. A player who, during this pre-draft process, is currently making himself some money while wearing shorts and T-shirts at the Woody, working out at the pro day, is Jackson Smith-Njigba. I will tell you why I believe that statement is true next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. The tournament is heating up, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and you'll love this next part. It's super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers and to threes drained. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. We all love seeing Buckeyes do amazing things on the football field. CJ Stroud did it at the pro day. Justin Fields a couple years ago did it at the pro day. Dwayne Haskins a few years before that did it at the pro day. These are the things we love. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Ezekiel Elliott, the Bosa brothers. Chase Young, we all love seeing them do their thing consistently, especially when a particular workout is weighted and can mean a player moves up and gets drafted higher than others than maybe he expected during the upcoming draft of that sport. In comes the conversation about Jackson Smith-Njigba. And I say it all the time. I'm not one to normally say players make money during these events, but it's different with Njigba, man. Only played in 3 games last year. questions we had, conversations we had here on this show in regards to his hamstring injury. How hurt is he? Is he too hurt to play? Did he not play to just get ready for the NFL? What's the real story? These are things we talked about here on this show. And so when it comes to Njigba now, he's at the combine. Phenomenal. Like, elite athleticism was on full display. We had the pro day where he ran the 40. We're going to talk about that here in a second. And he's out there running routes again. And these events, not real football, but these events for a player like him who was dealing with an injury and absence from the football field a year ago, most of the time, you're saying, oh, if I'm a team that's coming out there bringing people out there and I see this young man doing the things he does with the football, I might say, hey, man, we can use a slot. We can find a way to put this man on the football field. Let's just find a way because he's that talented. Njigba, due to the amount of team representatives that were out there yesterday, I believe he made himself some money. And I don't say that lightly. The Panthers brought 14 people representing the team. The Giants brought 9 representatives. The Seahawks brought 8. The New Orleans Saints brought 8. Titans 7. Jaguars 6. Cowboys 5. Steelers 5. Raiders 5. Patriots 5. Browns, your Cleveland Browns, brought 5. More than 2 to 3 reps at pro days is unusual. Let that sink in for you. That's a statement that comes from Jim Nagy, who runs the Senior Bowl. I mean, Browns, Patriots, Raiders, Steelers, Cowboys all brought 5 representatives apiece. May have been the owner, may have been some assistant coaches, may have been the head coach, may have been the quarterback coach or receivers coach, whoever it is. This is unheard of. Like, they're not all there to see CJ Stroud only. They're there to scout. Stroud had a meeting with the Panthers the night before the pro day. I know Cam Brown either met with or has a meeting scheduled with the Saints. Let me get that correctly. I believe they have that here in my notes somewhere. I do not see it, but I do know Cam Brown was one that ended up having a conversation with the Saints. And Njigba's one that needs this moment. Didn't run the 40 at the combine. He definitely ran that 40 once again. He ran that 40 at the pro day. 4.48, a 1.65 split for the 10 yards, a 20-yard split of 2.61, finishes with 4.48. Now, I don't know. I think I'm pretty smart. I don't know what the 10-yard and 20-yard split means as far as quickness off the line of scrimmage. I don't know how that compares to other players that are explosive or elite or slot receivers. I'm not sure all those numbers. All I know is this. 4.48 is faster than what I expected, and he is quickly putting to rest the conversation, is he or is he not healthy? Njigba is healthy. Njigba has hands. Njigba can run routes. Njigba is elusive. He can break tackles in the open field. He can swat hands right when he catches the ball, turn up field, and what could have been a 10-yard catch with no yards at the catch, it goes into a 10-yard reception with 15 yards added on, because Njigba knows how to work and move in space. This young man, I talk about it all the time, capture the moment, seize the day. I went on Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q. He also hosts Locked On Raiders, and he actually had me on to talk about CJ Stroud in Ohio State's pro day. And we talked about, man, like, you have to capture the moment. You have to be a player who is out there doing the thing all the time. Keeping it clean for everybody here. Doing the thing all the time. And Njigba is that. He's showing up. And I say all the time, these events sometimes, it's not all about what happens on the field. A lot of times it's about the conversations and the meetings and the connections you make with the coaches, the owners, and other people representing these teams in the National Football League that take time out of their day and money to come to where you play football to watch you work out in shorts and a t-shirt. You must capture the moment. And Njigba's doing that. Now, there are many mock drafts that we have talked about here on the show that have Njigba going top 20, some top 25. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes top 15. Why? He's that good. He is that good. If you get 2021 in Jigba post-hamstring injury, and he goes back to that 2021 in Jigba. But you're looking at a guy who, depending on the quarterback, could be in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year next season because he's that good. And I'm glad this young man sees the day, captured the moment that's right in front of him. He came in weight at 197 pounds, running a 4.48. That's moving. Hey, that's moving. Now you say, Jay, ain't no 4.29, ain't no 4.27, ain't no 4.33. No, it's not. It's not. 4.48 is still fast. And I'll say this, I say it all the time. The average person looking and watching someone run a 4.48 will be blown away at how fast that man is moving. The average person, if they tried to run a 40-yard dash, would not run a sub 5-second 40. Under 5 seconds. Absolutely not. You wouldn't do it. It's hard. These are elite athletes training at an elite level to do elite things and in an elite league. And they know they must capture these moments right in front of them. I'm happy for Njigba. Also happy for that young man. I can't wait to see him back on the football field consistently. And also, coming in at 197, running a 4.48 and doing the things he did in front of all these NFL teams and just really getting better, showing everyone he's healthy. I think Stroud made himself some money. And I do believe Njigba continues to move up draft boards, make himself money because of what he is doing at these pre-draft events. Two players that wowed me. There were some things I saw or read that surprised me at the pro day. Something shocked me as well. We'll go over all of those things next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more. And the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus also can set you up with a brand new top-of-the-line grill that will last for generations. We all know how hard it is with the supply chain issues this year and getting certain things shipped on time. So when it comes to ordering that one big gift for someone you love, check out Billiards Plus and get there early this year. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Alhassan, Canada, Billiards, and more. Plus, top-of-the-line grills from PK, Napoleon, Memphis, and Le Griddle. These will be the last grills you own. Seriously, these grills stand the test of time. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin and check them out at billiards-plus.com. Billiards Plus, family owned and operated for generations. Sports betting is now legal in Ohio, and Locked On has the perfect show to help new in-season gamblers. Download and subscribe to Locked On Bets for daily picks and analysis wherever you get your fine podcasts. So every time there's a workout, I'm a person that am looking for things that surprise me. Now, I'm not specifically looking and trying to pinpoint that got me, that shocked me, this, that, or whatever. I am not doing that. One thing I am doing, though, is just trying to see in the moment how I react to what I read, what I see. Sometimes you get results that are on paper. You have a reaction to them. Sometimes instantly, sometimes it slowly or gradually hits you over a period of time. And so when it comes to the pro day, yeah, I got the numbers. I got the 40-yard dash numbers, the Ohio State Pro Day results from a day ago. But also there are some things that kind of shocked me as well. First off, looking at the sheet, 40-yard dash times, I believe the slowest 40-yard dashes slowest to fastest was Jerron Cage coming in weighing height and weight, 6'2", 311 pounds, ran a 5.31. I mean, okay, like you're moving for a big boy, 300 pills plus and running a 5.3. Like that's really that's not normal. That's not normal human stuff. The fastest 40 in the entire event came from Tanner McAllister. Tanner McAllister ran a 4.44. Something I saw from a DB or that I did not see from a particular defensive back was Ronnie Hickman. Now, Ronnie Hickman got invited to the NFL Combine, did not do on-field drills, did not run the 40, didn't do anything on the field, just went there for the interviews. And I'm sitting here like, you need this. You need these moments. 6 foot, 209 pounds. Once again, no vertical jump, no broad jump, no 40-yard dash, none of those things. No, he didn't try to rep 225 pounds as many times as he can. Did not do it. Why? That is my question. Why? Is that going to hurt you? Because, buddy, we got game film from the past 2 years. They got enough film on you that you can bomb this, and it won't hurt you as bad as some of that game film will hurt you that has been out there over the past couple years. Leading tackler in 2021, great. Still, question marks about him as a football player at the next level. That was surprising. Something that was surprising in a good way was that, one, Stroud did 26 reps at 225 on the bench. He came in 6'1", 304 pounds. That's pretty good. Like, no, that's really good. That's amazing. But the thing that wowed me here, there were 2 guys that repped 225 22 times. Polyena used to call him PG the fourth because he is a fourth in his family with the name Polyena. But Tanner McAllister running a 4.4 and rep 225 22 times. Hey, I'm going to give you a clap on the show, buddy, because that's next level stuff. That's not normal for a guy who comes in at 5'10", 191 pounds to do. That ain't normal, man. I love it. Zach Harrison, I believe he was trying to get a little bit better on his vert. Vert was 34.5 inches. He did not run the 40-yard dash. I think that was a mistake from him. Paris Johnson Jr., DeJuan Jones did not do that either. The one thing about DeJuan Jones that I think is shocking, because I don't know how normal this is, but it's just one thing that stood out to me on this paper. He didn't weigh in. And if he did, it wasn't found on the paper. He didn't weigh in. Doesn't matter if you weighed in January and February and beginning of March. Doesn't matter if you do it again in the middle of March. Not really. It does not. No, it doesn't. 375 in January, 374 at the combine. The 375, the first number came during the Senior Bowl. Doesn't really matter, but I have questions marks about why. I don't know. That one stuck out to me as well. But outside of that, everything else here on these numbers from the Pro Day, pretty normal. I won't say basic, but pretty decent. The highest vertical jump out of anybody, 38.5 inches, came from Allen Smith, the running back from Brown, who was participating in this event with the other individuals at Ohio State. The club football player, Mr. Kellen Gerenstein, he did all of the events, 5'9", 193 pounds, worked out as a defensive back. 7 reps at 225 on the bench, 4.53 40, 33.5-inch vertical. Still not normal human stuff, but he's more athletic than I thought than I expected. Now, I know you got to be athletic, especially to be quarterback at that level, but you're more athletic than I expected. You kind of shocked me there. But those are some of the things that stood out to me from the results of this event. What else is here that might be pertinent to the listeners here of the show? 37-inch vertical for Tanner McAllister, the athletic man that he is. The best broad jump came from Allen Smith of Brown. And then the Buckeyes, 10-3 broad jump for Tanner McAllister, and then a 10-3 broad jump from Zach Harrison. That's all I got for the numbers-wise. Things that stuck out to me, that wowed me, shocked me, surprised me from the official results from Ohio State's Pro Day from the draft-eligible players. Can't wait to see Marvin Harrison Jr. in this event next year. I don't even care about the 40. Bro, what's your vert? What's your 3-cone drill? How elusive are you? Like, I want to see those things because, it's going to be fun to watch next year where Marvin Harrison Jr. is out there stunting like his daddy in the Woody in front of all those NFL reps before he gets drafted into the National Football League. Coming up tomorrow, planning on having a recruiting update from our guy, John Garcia Jr. He is Locked On's Football Recruiting Insider. There was some unfortunate news that came earlier in the week about an Ohio native that ended up committing to play for the Michigan Wolverines. We'll get John's thoughts about that and a few other prospects that are on the Buckeyes radar. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen today. For your second listen, check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Experts Isaac Shade and Andy Patton bring you everything you need to know on and off the court. Plus, hear from big-name experts, coaches, and players throughout the basketball landscape. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcast.